people, what's happening? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to another live stream and just general Chelsea chat after another very disappointing weekend following the 2-2 draw against Brentford at the G-Tech yesterday afternoon. Some pretty unsavoury scenes in the away end. The first time the fans have visibly turned on Mauricio Pochettino. There are chants of Jose Mourinho, chants of Roman Abramovich, anti-Bowley chants, anti-Pochettino chants. It wasn't a great place to be. Raheem Sterling booed on. And the club is just right now in a little bit of a mess. We missed yet another opportunity to close the gaps on the European places. Brighton lost. Man United have lost today. We've missed a big opportunity yet again. Another second half capitulation, not for the first time this season. And once again, we're looking for more. We've got more questions than we have answers. You know, we're looking for answers to things, and we're just not getting them right now. We switched system yesterday. Didn't particularly work. I don't know what's being said at half time. There's so much wrong at the club right now. People need to realise that, Todd Bowley's took a back step in February last year. He's not been involved in big decisions or the day-to-day running of the club for over a year now. So people need to, if they're going to direct any sort of frustrations or anger at the ownership, Egbali and Feliciano are the guys that are making the majority of decisions. They're involved in the day-to-day. Egbali was at the game yesterday. Bowley was out in Bahrain for the F1. Bowley's a minority stakeholder. He's got a minority stake in Chelsea. And unfortunately, he was chosen as the face of the consortium, which is why people seem to think all the responsibility lies with him when it quite simply doesn't. But things have got to change, whether it's the manager, directors, change of plan from the ownership. There's a lot of things that need to change at Chelsea if we're going to correct the course of action that the club is currently on, because it is not on a good course of action. We're just heading down and down and down at the moment. You sort of don't really know where the next win in the league is potentially coming from. And that's worrying times. That is worrying times. Whether you like it or not, whether you think there's been progress made or not, yes, all right, we've scored more goals. We're worse defensively than we were last season. We're better attack-wise. Yes, we made a cup final, but ultimately we're 11th in the table. We've got no silverware under our belts right now. And we're facing the real possibility of missing out on Europe for a second consecutive season unless we win the FA Cup, which with the teams left in it, yeah, okay, you'd say you'd fancy us to get to the semi-finals again. But if we're up against a Liverpool or a City or whatever, you wouldn't really be backing us in that sort of a game at Wembley. And that's just kind of the harsh reality of the situation right now. But big up to everyone that is locked in already. Keep smashing that like button, subscribe if you're new around here, all that good stuff. Let's say hello to a few people in the chat. There's nearly 50 of us in already. Keep smashing the likes, guys. Let's get us to 50 likes as quickly as possible. And please subscribe if you're new around here as well. Don't know what Pochettino's telling the players at half-time. This can't continue. Yeah. No, it wasn't. But as I was saying, he's a minority holder. He doesn't need to be at every game. Yes, evening. Poch is a problem. Poch is absolutely a problem, but he's not the biggest problem. But he's the easiest problem to remove, is the way I think a lot of fans see it. Look, it's obvious that, the ownership, the directors, that the route that we've chosen to go down is the real problem. But there's no denying now that the manager is an issue. There's no escaping that. The manager absolutely right now is an issue. Yes, big up. Egbali, when standing and Stuart, the main problems at Chelsea, it's fairly obvious. Yeah. No, he is. He's just unfortunate that for whatever reason, his face was put as the face of the consortium, and people just think it's all down to him. There's never been more. No, there hasn't. This is the biggest disconnect between club and fans I can certainly remember in my time supporting Chelsea. Obviously, I've not supported Chelsea for as long as some others, but yeah, there's definitely a massive disconnect right now. It's getting to a point where I'm more worried for the future, ironically, since that's all these owners are focused on. Yeah, no, I hear you. Not great, but it is what it is. It's one race. Let's see what happens. Always said he was wrong. He was wrong for the job. I can't believe some of our families are happy we got him, especially after Potter. I don't know. I was. Look, it wasn't my first choice. Let me make that absolutely clear. But you know, I thought it could be a good choice. And like I'm not someone that calls for managers to be removed or gives up on managers lightly. And I'm at a point where I can't see how this guy is improving us. He simply isn't. We've regressed since kind of December, and yes, I know we've only lost once since the turn of the year, I think it is. But you can tell that the football's not sustainable. We're dropping off constantly in second half. So the manager is not learning from his mistakes. And 7 or 8 months in, you'd at least expect a clear tactical plan, a clear idea of how we're going to play. And that simply isn't there. That simply is not there. And that in itself is a major problem as well. A huge problem. I mean, yeah, they lost, but I mean, I can't enjoy it too much given the situation that we're in. And as I said, another opportunity missed. We could have gained 3 points on United this weekend, but we messed up yet again. Look, for me, I think the Spurs thing. Look, I get it. Some people can't see past that. I'm not overly bothered, really. As long as you're winning for Chelsea, I don't care where you've been before. But I think it's an easy thing to beat the manager with when things aren't going well. Guys, loads of stuff coming in. I'll be honest, I don't know. I've never heard of him before. So yeah, I mean, he's coming in to sort of try and improve the culture at Cobham and Stamford Bridge. So yeah, I don't know how much difference that's going to make, but yeah, I've never heard of him. Right on the end of the season, feel like same as last season, just don't bother playing the last 12 games. Yeah, look, we are at a point now in the season where we are FA Cup or bust. That's the reality. It's win the FA Cup or the season is irrelevant. That's where we are right now. Yeah, Southgate, English, Poch, or next week is Newcastle. I think Newcastle, we beat them at home on penalties in the Carabao Cup, 1-1 after the 90. And they're another side again where we've now dropped 2 points to them because they beat Wolves yesterday and we drew. So yeah, we're just constantly missing opportunities, and that's the most frustrating thing is that we could. I know it's a could, and it's a big if, of course, but we should be or could be, 6th place, so we could be 7th in the table. We could only be a couple of points off 6th, but we're just giving up we're just dropping stupid points in games that we shouldn't be dropping points in. We're just not turning up in second halves, and it's a major problem. I mean a couple of rows behind me yesterday at Brentford, there was a guy that obviously Sterling was booed on, and there were a couple of lads that almost came to blows about it because one guy was just like booing and whatever. Another guy was like, "You need to get behind and support the team," like you do. I'm not Sterling's biggest fan whatsoever, but like when a player's been sent on by the manager, whether you agree or not, to try and rescue something from the game, booing him on is not helping anyone in that situation. It's not helping anyone at all. Toxic fans only going to get worse. I think on the fans, by the way, I think too many fans don't know what it means to support a team. Support is needed more than ever in the difficult times. Too many fans are selfish, entitled, and don't know how to support the team. I'm not saying have false positivity and all that and pretend that everything's all right, but when you're in the stadium, you need to get behind the team, and if you can't do that, then you shouldn't be there. Support is not just when you're doing well. Support is also when it's sticking by the team when things aren't going well, and things are not going well right now. So you've got to stick with it. I think too many fans don't know what they want. Roman's not coming back. Jose's not coming back. I get it. I get you're allowed to voice your frustrations, but what's that doing? What good is that doing? Roman's never coming back. These owners aren't going anywhere for a minimum of 10 years. And we know that Mourinho is not coming back to Chelsea. So I get it, you're frustrated, but what help is pining for the past doing? Absolutely nothing. Too many Chelsea fans don't understand that the past is the past. We're not the club we were anymore. These people aren't coming back. This is a new chapter in the history. Things are different. We're struggling right now. It's shit. But unfortunately, we just have to hope it comes good. But too many Chelsea fans are just stuck in the past, pining for how things used to be. And that's another issue. Too many fans don't know what they want. They've got no idea. You ask fans, who should be the next manager potentially? No, other than that, people say Ruben Amorim, but no one can give you another name. No one can give you another name. And that in itself is a major problem as well. Is it even possible to run a football club with so much emotivity and complexity around it? I think, again, another issue, I get it that, people go by data and clubs go by data now as well as a big part of the model. But what's wrong with the eye test as well? That there's nothing wrong with a good old-fashioned eye test. Yes, by all means, use data, but there's nothing wrong with a good old-fashioned eye test as well. And if this is what the data is showing us, then maybe we need to reboot the system and find a different algorithm, because whatever we're doing right now is absolutely not working. I never understand chanting Roman or past managers. I absolutely agree with you on that front. I see us only picking up 12 more points this season, which would give us 48. Last season, that would have put us 11th. Yeah, and do you know what the mad thing is, right? I said it after the game yesterday. I think I've mentioned it before. I can guarantee you, right, if Graham Potter was still here now, we wouldn't be any worse. I'm not saying we'd be better. We would be no worse. If Potter was still here now, we would be no worse than where we are right now. We wouldn't be lower than 11th. So, sometimes you've got to be careful what you wish for. Everyone at the time was saying Graham Potter was the problem. Fast forward a year, was he really the problem? No, he wasn't. Was he part of the problem? Yes. But was he the main problem like everyone made him out to be? No, he wasn't. Is Maurizio Pochettino the main problem like a lot of people are making him out to be? No, he absolutely isn't. And people need to start realizing that, yes, okay, the managers aren't doing well enough, but they are not the main issue. This is the third manager now under this ownership in 2 years. And funnily enough, the same problems are still there, despite the manager being changed. So when are people going to realize that, actually, do you know what? Yeah, okay, the manager's not doing well enough and has to improve, and what he's doing is not of a good enough level. But there's one constant in this 2 years since the club changed ownership, and that's the ownership. And they're not getting it right. They're making poor decisions. They've chosen a poor route to go down, and they're going to have to stick to their guns now and back what they decide to do. We need some communication. Come out, speak, explain what's going on, say what the plan is. If you've got a course of action to correct the direction the club's heading in, come out and present that. And you could easily come out and shut down the speculation. Yes, we know that their plans always have been to reassess at the end of the season. We know that, but you can come out and say that again or whatever. 6 and 7 not for us. We should stop being deluded, mate. It's over. The whole season is being played versus Leicester now. It seems to be heading towards that way. And again, the only way any change occurs is if the sporting directors go with the manager. Otherwise, it's pointless. There's no point getting rid of the manager and keeping the sporting directors. That doesn't achieve anything. I can see fans fighting with each other next. It'll be like Kieran Dyer and Lee Bowyer, maybe. The chance will only get worse. We had it in the Wolves defeat. I was there hearing the fans yesterday. I was not there, but I heard. Yeah. No, it wasn't good. But as I've been saying, too many fans don't know how to support the team. They don't know what support is. Support's not just turning up for the good times. Support's turning up through the bad times as well. If you can't get behind the team and the players, stay at home. Go and support someone else. Support means good and bad. And if you can't stick with a team for the bad times, and you can't express criticism in a constructive way, then there's no point having your support. It is the honest answer. I'm not really sure. I don't know what the plan is. That's the reality of the situation. We don't know. We know what the plan is, but the execution's poor, and there's no real idea of how we're going to correct the course of action. All my mates laughing at me here in New York. Yeah, no, how things change. So this is what I've been trying to tell Chelsea fans. Redirect your anger towards Igbalo, 2 sporting directors and Pot. Just big up. Fair enough. No, I don't see us winning the FA Cup either. But you never know. You do never know. I mean, look, we're still in it. Stranger things have happened in football. But yeah, it does appear. It appears it would be unlikely right now. Guys, there's so many things coming through the chat right now. I would agree to a certain extent, like until the sporting directors change and maybe the idea changes slightly and the structure changes, then yeah, we could be stuck. One thing I would say is that if a new manager does come in, the fans have to stick with the manager. We can't get to a situation where if, for example, a Ruben Amorim were to come in and he's going through a difficult patch, you can't have it at the first sign of difficulty. Oh, manager needs to go. At some point, Chelsea fans are going to have to realise and accept that we're going to go through a difficult time, and we have to stick by our manager. The whole premise of this ownership, where we want to build for the long term, we want to stop chopping and changing managers all the time. They're already on their 3rd manager in less than 2 years, could be a 4th. It's embarrassing. It is highly embarrassing to come in, preach a project for the long term, and you're already potentially going to have a 4th manager in your 2 years in charge. And not only that, what does it say for prospective new managers coming in? And they're looking at this and they're thinking, fuck, I come to Chelsea. It's a long-term project. It's an inexperienced team. It's going to take time. But I could be on the scrap heap in 6 or 7 months. Why would I come and take that job? And that, for me, is a legitimate concern. It's all very well saying get rid of the manager. Are we realistically going to attract anyone with a better CV? And for me, the answer to that is no. Like, people talk about Ruben Amorim. I'm a fan of Ruben Amorim. But let's be honest, is his CV any better than Pochettino's before Chelsea? Is it? He's on a Portuguese league. Maybe he's on a Portuguese cup. But is his CV any different to Pochettino? Is winning the Portuguese league any different to winning the French league? All right, it might be a little bit tougher with the likes of Benfica and Porto, but is Amorim's CV better than Pochettino's CV? No, it's not. It is the answer for me. We keep saying this, but we don't fix up this coming window, then it's over. Things are bad, but can still be fixed. Things can still be fixed, but it is going to take a long time. There's absolutely no denying that. It will take a long time, and it's going to take accountability and responsibility from the ownership. They need to come out. It's going to take accountability and all that sort of thing. That's what we need. Accountability and responsibility. That is the reality of the situation. We need accountability, we need responsibility. And we're not getting those things right now from anyone involved with the club. We're simply not getting them. So people that think, a new manager is going to change everything, it isn't. It won't. And that in itself is an alarming situation. Owners are the biggest issue. Poch is an issue, but for me, a bigger issue is the players. Yeah, I think the recruitment has been poor in terms of we haven't the way the squad's been put together. Any manager will be challenging. We haven't got enough reliable match-winning pros in the squad to get us to where we need to be at this point in time. And it's a major concern that the ownership thought that this team could qualify for the Champions League. This team was nowhere near good enough for the Champions League. This team nowhere near good enough to qualify for the Champions League. That in itself is a major concern. Ominous times, agree. 4 or 5 experienced players, top sporting director and proper coach. Do you know what? Everyone knows we need a centre forward this summer. I promise you, the most important signing and the best thing that Chelsea could do is sign an elite sporting director and an elite director of football. Those for me are the 2 most important things. And realistically, you want a sporting director in place to then pick the manager. You don't want to pick a manager and then appoint a director. You don't want to do that. You want to do it. You want to do it the other way around, guys. There's so much coming in the chat. I I can't read everything that's coming through. I was a beer all day. But please, if you want to guarantee your comment gets read out, please do use a super chat function. Any donation, no matter how big or small, is greatly appreciated. It is draining. Absolutely, it is draining. Absolutely, it's draining. I wouldn't say Amorim was another Potter, but like these are all managers of the same ilk to a degree. People talk about Xabi Alonso. Yeah, Leverkusen are having an absolutely outstanding season. Yeah, he looks like to be a promising up-and-coming manager. But like I say about players, anyone can have one good season. You know, you can put one good season together. It happens. Can Xabi Alonso make that step up after just one season in management? You know, you can guarantee, right, if Xabi Alonso came to Chelsea, which he's not going to do, you know, and things didn't start off too well, people would be saying, "Oh, we should have got a more experienced manager in." You know, you can't please everyone. What I would say in response to that, Poch took over from Thomas Tuchel. They were a point behind Lille. They finished a point behind Lille. So yeah, like they finished in the same position as he came in. Just think, well, Ruben will be another Villas Boas. Well, look, Amorim, if he were to come, could either be potentially could be another Jose in the making, or as you say, could just be another Villas Boas. What else have we got coming through? I don't know. I don't know where. I'm not sure. There was a lot of it towards the start when they first came in, but yeah, there doesn't appear to be as much now. Which, yeah, it's not ideal. It's not ideal. It really isn't. So yeah, I don't really know. I don't really know what's going on, but yeah, look, right now we're in an unacceptable situation. Like we could have won yesterday. We could have won yesterday. There were opportunities: Jackson, Sterling, Palmer. But again, how many times are we going to say this? Oh, we could have won a game. We could have done this. We could have done that. The reality is we're not doing it. And why are we not doing it? Near everyone was okay with 2. I'm personally even okay with a Sebastian Hoeneß, more affordable and done worse than Alonso, still 41. If you want a CV, man, well, look, Jose's never come in. Zidane, I think Chelsea have tried for Zidane in the past. Obviously not under this ownership. I don't know where he would fit in this, but I think we all know that Zidane is holding out for the French national team job when Deschamps probably steps down after these Euros. We all know, I think that's what Zidane's going to be holding out for. The team was good enough for the Champions League under Thomas Tuchel. Just about it was. But obviously everyone was happy with and acknowledged that the squad needed clearing out and a lot of these players needed to go. I've got no problem with the squad clear out. What's clearly a major issue is what we've replaced the players that have left with. We've replaced them with way too many inexperienced pros right now, way too many players that could be good in X amount of years' time, rather than having a few of those and then having experienced, reliable, match-winning pros of the required quality. We've put the squad together the squad's been put together in a ridiculous way. In a ridiculous way, the squad's been put together. And that's why we're struggling. The squad needed gutting out. There won't be a single Chelsea fan that will say, "Oh, we shouldn't have cleared the squad out." The squad have been needing refreshing for a number of years. Fans have been calling for that to happen for a number of years. So I don't think we can look back in hindsight and be like, "Oh, we shouldn't have cleared the squad out." The problem was, I think, A, the turnover was too big, and B, is what we replaced the experienced players we sold with. And that was with young, inexperienced players. And that, for me, is why we're seeing such a drop-off, is that, one, we haven't got a squad that's capable of competing in the Premier League right now. And two, we don't have a manager that is good enough tactically, can in-game management is atrocious. Another example yesterday, you could see the tide was turning in that Brentford game in the second half. And again, reactive rather than proactive. Instead of trying to make something happen, waits till we go 2-1 down and then makes a change. This is what I mean. This has got nothing to do with the ownership and the hierarchy. If you cannot see situations in game or predict situations in game, then that is a massive, massive problem. And Pochettino's in-game management is shocking. It's been woeful. It's been woeful pretty much all season. Absolutely dreadful. There's no getting away from it. Guys, 73 in the building. Big yourselves up. 43 likes only. Let's get this to 50 as quickly as possible. I think we can definitely hit the 100 likes mark tonight. There should be no excuses for not hitting 100 likes, guys. Let's get there. The owners don't want... Why no one speaks about absolutely impossible situation? Yeah, no, he was. I've said it. You know, Potter was put into an impossible situation, and I honestly believe he was set up to fail. How was anyone going to succeed in that situation at Chelsea? A squad of 40-odd players, a load of guys that don't want to be there, a manager that was out of his depth, had never managed at that level before, and suddenly he's thrust into a mess there, and people think Potter's a shit coach now because of what happened at Chelsea. That isn't the situation. That isn't the situation at all. Potter, I think, is a very good manager, but he was put into a situation at Chelsea where, yeah, it was just absolutely set up to fail. And I feel maybe Pochettino, in a similar way, maybe not quite as bad as Potter, has also been set up to fail, in a sense that, you know, yes, we spent a lot of money, but has he been given the correct tools to be able to compete in a Premier League and get us to where Chelsea want to be and should be? I don't know if that has. I'm not sure if he has. Too many inexperienced players. Should we be doing better than where we are right now? Yeah, we should. But would another manager have us in Champions League football with this same squad? No. Would they have us in Europa League football? Potentially. Let's have a look at this right now. Let me just bring it up on screen. There are significant doubts inside Chelsea that the club will reach a European spot. I would agree on that. Absolutely, there are significant doubts for sure. I'm sharing those doubts, having thought perhaps we definitely would make some form of Europe. I'm now having some major doubts myself on that front, whether we will. As I said, I think the season's boiling down to FA Cup or bust now. It really is as simple as that, in my opinion. There are significant doubts inside Chelsea that the club will reach the European spot. Figures at the club are worried that Chelsea will end up like last season and get to a point where nothing is to play for. Well, we are at a point where virtually nothing to play for. There's no escaping that fact. We are at a point where there is virtually nothing to play for. If, and a big if at the moment, the Unforgivable happens and in a couple of weeks we go out to Leicester in the FA Cup, the season's done in mid-March and there's literally nothing to play for. And we'd be in a very, very similar situation to what we were in last season. Is that people above have different views on Poch? Is there more? Data analysts have raised concerns over performance lately. They felt we should have more possession against Leeds and more shots. We also lost on XG. Like this data stuff. Look, I get data is a big part of the game now, but why are they raising concerns over we should have had more possession against Leeds or more shots? Look, we should have played better against Leeds, no doubt about it. We got played at the park in the second half, but we did win. Yes, it was concerning that they played us off the park. Of course it is, but obviously Liverpool in extra time, yeah, sure, they had more of the ball than us, but having less of the ball is not necessarily a bad thing. It's more about what you do with the ball. You know, a team could just have the ball in their own half, just knocking it about at the back and in midfield. You know, I think I get there needs to be a focus on data. I think at the club right now, there is way, way, way too much of a focus on data and not enough of a focus on, you know, other things. I think we're too data obsessed right now. What else is going on here? It's too late to have these talks, literally the same as last season. Yeah, it is the same as last season. Absolutely is the same as last season. What else have we got going on here? So the club are using advanced models and tools to judge the progression of the team. A more simple but effective one is the attacking momentum graphs, which show you peaks of pressure throughout the course of the game. Losses to West Ham, Brentford, Forest showed we dominated. Yeah, we lost. So does that really matter? We can't be like, oh, we dominated. The data shows we dominated. Yeah, but the only thing that matters is the scoreline, and we fucking lost all those games. So yeah, Chelsea's use of data models is why you hear generally that the club feel we should be higher in the table. We dropped a lot of points, 10 plus, earlier in the season, where we were dominating attacking phases and controlling important zones more regularly. As I always said, Egbali has the final say on pretty much everything, especially the manager. Winstanley and Stewart could change things, and they both recommend the change. They both recommended an eventual change to Potter, and it was improved. Yeah, I mean, not a surprise to hear that. Not a surprise to hear that. But I think we've just become a club now that has become way too obsessed with data. Way too obsessed. Yes, there's a place for data, but there's also, nothing wrong with a good old fashioned eye test and all that. Where's that gone? Where's the good old fashioned eye test gone? We're judging too many things on data. Ultimately, whether you're outperforming or underperforming your XG, yeah, okay, they're useful metrics and whatnot, but it is a problem. And people say, "Well, there's too much negativity." I don't like being negative about the club, but right now, other than the fact that I feel we do have a squad that is very likable, and I think we do have a squad where there's some very good young players in there. There's not really anything else to be positive about. We lost the cup final. We're 11th in the Premier League. We've got a manager who is seemingly out of his depth and is unable to correct mistakes that are constantly occurring. So yeah, I try and be as positive as I can about things, but right now, really clutching at straws at what there is to be positive about at this football club, because there isn't. There simply isn't. I don't know. I don't know if that's the case or not. Who analyzes the data, but I don't know. The club must have specialized data analysts. There'll obviously be data analysts working at Chelsea that I presume are doing all that stuff. I doubt Egbali is looking over data. I don't know if the role of sporting directors includes going through data or not. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the answers to that. Is the honest truth on that front. I would imagine so. If the results don't get any better, then yeah, absolutely. The only way the atmosphere is going to change and Poch can start to win some of the fans round is by winning games of football. Winning, that's what winning will do. Winning will absolutely change things. If you want things to improve, then has to win. If Pochettino wants to build a relationship with the fans, you can start by coming over and just clapping and applauding the fans after each game, trying to make an effort to connect. But if you're not going to do that, which he's not done all season, which clearly doesn't seem to be what he does, then the only other way you're going to build a connection is by winning games of football. And right now, we're not doing that either. So it's pretty tough for Maurizio. I don't know. I don't think it's a big mistake, but Silva's been exceptional for us. But it's absolutely clear that his inclusion in the team does force too many tactical reshuffles in the side. I'm not saying that he should never play for us again by any accounts, but I don't think he should be a regular starter, particularly not in a back four. Particularly not in a back four. So. Yeah, I don't know. It's tough, but I'd say Silva's not the reason why we're not winning games of football. That's for sure. Of course, you're going to dominate against West Ham. Even Sheffield dominates against West Ham. But there's not a lot to be positive about right now. As I was saying, it is tough. It is tough. I try and stay as positive as I can, but right now things are not going well. No, it absolutely doesn't. It absolutely doesn't. It can give you an idea of the chances you're creating in games, but ultimately, we won on XG. Doesn't get you any points. Simple as that. I'd rather lose every game on XG and have the points than be like, we've lost So I'd rather win every game and lose on XG than have a situation where we're losing, but we won on XG. So, the data shows that actually we're playing well. But the reality is we're not putting the ball in the back of the fucking net. What else have we got in? Maldini's not going to come. Data is important, but if the objective of the game is to win and you can't achieve that, the data becomes irrelevant. Yeah, it does. Look, the data can definitely be helpful and can definitely support you, and it can definitely highlight underlying trends in the basic principles of how the team are performing. But ultimately, data doesn't win you games. It doesn't win you games, and it doesn't bring you points. If you can't win matches, then you can dress up the data whatever way you want. The data can be showing you loads of good things, but ultimately, if you can't win games of football and you haven't got the points on the board, then the data is absolutely irrelevant. Well, if we go out the FA Cup, then I think he really is in big trouble. I think, look, Chelsea are desperate to get to the end of the season with Poch intact, and I think whilst the FA Cup is still in play, I think he'll remain. I think this ownership, this board, absolutely want it to work with Pochettino. They absolutely want it to work. There's no denying that, and I think for the sake of the club, we need to get to the end of the season with Pochettino still intact. We need to do that, but I don't know how we're going to do that. If we were to go out of the FA Cup, it is going to be a big problem. And yeah, it's a concern that we could easily end up with no European football again. And the money we spent, with the quality of the squad we do have, it is a problem. It is a problem. I wouldn't say it's crazy, but if you're solely data is always used for signings, but if you're just solely basing a signing off data, that is a massive problem. Yeah, that and exactly as summed up here. It becomes a problem when you just rely on the data and you don't take anything else into account. That's when it becomes an issue. And I think with too many of these signings, we've just gone off data rather than what we've actually seen with our own eyes, what we've had from recommendations from other people. And right now, as a football club, we are an absolute joke. There's no denying it. We are an absolute joke right now, from top to bottom. It's easier said than done. It's very difficult to get behind something. I'm all for supporting things, and I always will, but it's very difficult to get behind something when you're seeing no tangible signs of progress. It's very difficult to support something when you're not getting anything in return, when you're not seeing anything where it looks like things might be improving. Yeah, but I absolutely hear you on that. But one of my main issues with the manager, and look, I want this manager to do well. Look, I think Pochettino is a very likable guy. The players clearly like him. They like playing for him. But there's a lot of things at Chelsea right now which are wrong, and he's become a problem. He's not the main problem, but he is an issue. There's no denying that, and nothing more is highlighted by this. So, if this is the first half, right, we would be 7 points off the top of the table if the table was used just playing the first half of games, right? We'd be 8 and we'd be 7 points off the top of the table based on the first half of matches so far this season. You then contrast that with the second half of games, and we would be 17th, only out of the relegation zone based on goal difference. That drop off in first to second half performance is astounding, absolutely astounding. How we have dropped so far off, to be 7 points off the top in the first half to being out of the relegation zone on goal difference in the second half. Now, why is that happening? Now, two reasons for this. one is more of a reason than another for me. One, we have a situation where we have a young and inexperienced squad who may not know how to see games out. But I refuse to believe that over a course of a season that we're going through now, that our second half drop-off is purely because players don't know how to see a game out. A lot of the team might be inexperienced, but they've been in situations where they've been part of teams that have seen games out. They're not stupid. I'm pretty sure they know how to see games out. But for whatever reason, and for me, a large part of this comes down to the manager. Poor in-game management, poor tactics. The team not really knowing what to do or what's expected of them. And I think a lot of this, I'm not gonna 100% believe I'm not going to 100% lay all the blame at the manager's door, because certainly, the players out on the pitch have got to take a bit of a responsibility as well. But ultimately, this comes down to the manager. Too many times this season, we've come out second half, and I don't know what's been said at halftime, but we come out and the drop-off in performance has been an absolute shambles. It has been an absolute shambles how big the drop-off in performance has been. Look, I'm more than happy to accept that, do you know what? Yeah, these players aren't good enough right now. So a lot of these players aren't good enough. A lot of these players also aren't of the required standard to play for Chelsea. And I think that's becoming more and more clear. It's becoming more and more clear. But this is an issue. I mean, how there can be such a big contrast between first and second half performances is mad. I mean, it just feels like this season, has been a massive waste of time for the fans. It's not been a waste of time for the players. I think they've proven in moments that they absolutely can rise to the occasion. And look, the data supports the manager, regressing from sort of December onwards. So like there has been a downward trend in Chelsea's performances since the turn of the year. Yes, I know we've won games, but in terms of underlying metrics and stuff, there has been a downward trend look, everyone wants this manager to do well, because if this manager does well, it means that Chelsea do well, and that's what everyone wants. But right now, it's very difficult to get behind a manager who is not showing any willingness to connect with the fans, to show that he's learned from his mistakes, and his coaching has been poor. We just look like mate, it must be your internet, I think, because I don't think anyone else is having a problem, and everything's good my end. So yeah, maybe it must be an internet issue your end. Is anyone else having that issue? Just let me know in the chat. But yeah, I think it might be an internet problem your end, mate. Everyone knew Poch was an average manager before we signed him, but people blamed Potter, Lampard, etc. I would say Poch was average. Look, he's obviously well respected in the game. Yeah, I think it's more likely to be that. I think it's more likely to be like that. Yes, big up everyone, guys. How many likes are we on at the moment? 65. Let's keep it moving. We can definitely reach 100 likes today, guys. 78 in the building. Big up to everyone that is locked in. 65 likes. Let's get this to 80 likes as quickly as possible, people. As quickly as possible. Let's keep it moving, guys. And please do subscribe as well if you are new around here. But yeah, the fact that the drop-off in the first half to the second half, the entire squad is not trash. Absolutely not. There's a lot of likeable players in this squad, and there's a lot of good players in this squad. We do have enough potential and talent, but ultimately, right now, we haven't got enough consistency. We haven't got enough players with enough know-how. And there's too many inexperienced players, and there's too many players that, A, could be good in a few years, and B, are ultimately not good enough for Chelsea. And when you've got that situation, and when you've got that coupled with a manager that that seemingly doesn't know how to coach a team well tactically, then that's why we're finding ourselves in a difficult situation right now. And for me, this does all fall on the man. The vast majority of this drop off in second halves falls on the manager. What's he saying to those players at half time? Because I don't think the players are collectively going out there and deciding to be shit in second half. They're not deciding. They're not going out there and deciding to drop off. There must be some sort of tactical instructions at half time that are being received, and we're finding ourselves in a situation that we simply shouldn't be in. I'm not saying, that you're going to play well for 90 minutes in every game. Of course you're not. But the reality is that we are regressing, and those second half performances they're absolutely unforgivable. Absolutely unforgivable. That's why I never get excited. That's why I never get excited at halftime, because I know what we're like in the second half. That is why I will never ever get excited about the second half, because about winning at halftime or being in a game at halftime. The manager has got us regressing. That's the reality. That's the reality of the situation. We are regressing under this manager right now. I wouldn't say the project is failing at this point in time. I don't think you can call the project a complete failure right now. But what you can absolutely say is that the project right now is failing. It's not a total failure, no. It can be corrected, but excuse me, the project right now is failing. It simply isn't working. Nearly 2 years in, we shouldn't still be sitting 11th in the table. We should be at a point where we can qualify for some form of European football, and we're not. And that is an indictment on the project. The project right now is simply not working. And that's the reality of the situation. Yesterday, Brentford's entire first choice back four was out, and they looked shocking in the first half, and we should have won that game by a minimum of 2 goals. Instead, we dropped 2 points, and afterwards the gaffer was smiling when the game ended. That in itself is no good. That is no good. Absolutely no good whatsoever, and shocking. Look, I would say making a final is a good thing, right? It's not a bad thing, and it shows signs of progress. Of course, it does. Making finals is better than going out in the third round. Absolutely agree on that front. Making finals is way better than going out in the first in the third round or whatever, and that is progress. Sure, making finals is absolutely progress, but it's not where we want to be. And in the league, we haven't made any progress. Let's be real. We're no better in the league than we were last season. That's the simple reality. We're no better in the league than we were last season. What's this? I always use Newcastle as the example. Bottom of the league, everyone's saying they are finished. Eddie Howe comes in, moves Jones into the midfield. Next season, finish 4th. Yeah, they massively overachieved. I think right now with Newcastle, you're seeing roughly their level, and that's Europa League qualification, sort of back fighting for top 6. They massively overachieved last season, for sure. Potentially, yeah. You've got a lot of players to come back from loan moves. I think the squad probably is too big. Another thing that really annoyed me about Pochettino is him going on about the midfield being tired and having no other players to change in. Well, let me just say something. You recalled Cesare Casadei from his loan spell at Leicester, not using him. You could use Leo Castledine, who's done a very good season in the academy. You're not using him. There are other options, but you're choosing not to use them. So that excuse is not washing with me. Liverpool ended up with Joe Gomez and Bobby Clark in midfield yesterday against Nottingham Forest. Klopp gives these young kids a chance. Don't come out and say to me after the game that, the midfield's tired, we've got no options to change these players. You recalled Casadei. You sent Andre Santos on loan. He's sitting on Strasbourg's bench, and you've got guys in the academy you could use. Don't come out and say we haven't got any other options. Enzo, Caicedo, Gallagher have played so much football they're tired or whatever. There are other options there. That excuse is done with me. That excuse is done with me. I'm not that excuse is washed. It's not an excuse anymore. You've got options you can use. You're choosing not to use them. You're not being brave. You're not prepared to give a guy from the academy an opportunity or chuck a few youngsters in. I get it. When you're under pressure and you need results, it's harder to throw youngsters in. But sometimes you just got to throw caution to the wind and just go for it and chuck some youngsters in. You just have to go for it and do it. What we got here? Pot showed tactics and fighting on the touchline in pre-season and early season. Yeah, again, I think that's another thing that you could say. Like, it's hardly inspiring. I know every manager is different, but he spends most of the time sat in the dugout for games. I don't think that's helpful. You look to the sideline, maybe for a bit of encouragement, a bit of tactical instruction. It's very rarely there. It could be more animated on the touchline for sure. I'm not saying I need him patrolling, barking up and down the technical area all game, but there could certainly be a bit more of that. I think he's a very passive manager. I wouldn't say no chance, but every week that goes by, that chance is getting less and less and less. And right now, we're in a really tricky predicament. A really tricky predicament. So yeah, it's not looking it's not looking great for us at the moment. We are struggling. Look, we do have to try and get behind the manager, but right now, I will always support a manager, and I support the manager, but ultimately, it's very difficult. He's making it very difficult for anyone to support him, given the results, what he says in press conferences and post-match interviews and whatnot, and how he's making no connection and make no effort to connect with the fans. His in-game management and the fact that the side is just not improving under him. It's very hard to support a manager when all those things are missing. I support managers right up until the end, and right now, I'm finding it very, very difficult to support this manager for all the reasons mentioned. And we do need to somehow try and get to the end of the season. I hope that he can turn it around and make a success of this, because I want this guy to do well. But yeah, it's not looking great right now. It isn't looking great right now. Could agree with you. We should be better with these players. Of course, we're a young team, but we should be getting better results. We should be getting better results. Absolutely. Shows that our directors have no idea of what it takes. Recall youngsters rather than letting them flourish at their loan clubs. No, they didn't. They didn't even end up signing that Stefano Sensi either. He never ended up joining. Casadei was called back because we needed another body in midfield, because Pochettino was asked us in the press conference on Friday. Casadei was recalled because of injuries to Lavia and Ugochukwu, and we needed an extra body to cover in there. Leicester were happy to keep him. They didn't end up signing Sensi from Inter Milan in the end. He was recalled because we needed an extra body in there. There's a clip on Twitter of Pochettino being asked that question, what his plan is for Casadei. And there clearly isn't one. You can't say I've got no options in midfield when, there is Casadei there and Andre Santos was sent on loan. There are options there. You could have used Castledine. There's options. So that excuse for me is null and void. It's big up. My only issue for Poch is that he doesn't instruct or shout at his players. Instead of doing that, he sits and relaxes on the bench. Yeah, no, I hear you. Guys, there's so much coming in. I can't read all of this. What else have we got? Yeah, maybe that's the situation that we are going to find ourselves in for the time being. Look, I'm hopeful that we can somehow get ourselves together, maybe win an FA Cup, and get some form of European football. I think ultimately the FA Cup's going to be our best chance of playing European football. We're potentially 3 matches away from playing Europa League football next season, and that's putting us in a much easier equation than what we've got left in the league. Look, I think he can be. You're telling me that the likes of Bobby Clark and Jadon Dands and all these guys at Liverpool, all these academy players at Liverpool have been using. You're telling me they're ready for important minutes? I don't think so. They are far less experienced than someone like Cassidy. So look, I think, there's no point waiting to just chuck these guys in. We need bodies in there. We need options. Just use them. Just use these guys. It's not difficult. It really isn't a difficult thing to understand, but the managers, there's always decisions, but the manager's not brave enough to take them. I don't know. Well, United was shit, so hardly a surprise. I don't really know. There's a lack of options out there. Ruben Amorim would probably be most people's first choice, but if we're being brutally honest, with Bayern, Barcelona, Liverpool, all looking for new managers, potentially Man United as well, plus any other jobs that are that will come up. To pretend that we're going to get, a pick of the managers is nonsense. We're not. We're going to be looking at whatever managers don't get those jobs. We're then going to be left with getting one of those. That's the reality. So look, there's not a great deal of options out there. Amorim is the obvious standout one, but we could be in a situation with him if he were to somehow come in, which I think is very unlikely. We could be in a situation with him where we're looking at, well, he could end up being a VS Boas, or he could end up, being a Mourinho type figure. You just don't know. You just don't know. I think he was sacked. I don't really know why he ended up leaving. Guys, we're on 71, 74 in the building, 75 likes. Let's get this up to let's get to 80 likes as quickly as possible, guys. We can definitely reach 100 likes tonight. No reason why we can't do that. 76 likes right now. Keep smashing that like button, guys. It's free and it takes seconds to do. So please do that. It helps boost the content in the algorithm. The more likes a piece of content is, the more YouTube will boost it in the algorithm and get more eyes on the channel. So please do hit the like button, guys, and please subscribe to the channel as well if you're new around here. Just 3 subscribers away, guys, from 8,060. So if we can try and get another 3 subscribers whilst we're on stream tonight, that would be fantastic. There's 3 of you in here out of the 74 that are tuned in. Please do subscribe to the channel. It would be greatly appreciated and would mean a lot to me. When recruiting players, data doesn't give you the player profile for the club. Yeah, no, it doesn't. It doesn't give you the cultural, the guy, like what the personality, will he fit in culturally with the club? Does he suit the style of play, etc., etc. No, you absolutely don't. You absolutely don't. And that is spot on. And couldn't agree with that more. Could not agree with that more. Poch won't take these risks because he's under so much pressure recently. Yeah, and that's what I was saying earlier. I get it to a degree. It's easier when you've got the fans on side, and in Klopp's position, it is easier to put those youngsters in. But at the same time, we need to we're going to have to take some risks. Something's got to give. Football's fickle. Given the evidence over the years, I've no doubt we could be back under a season or 2 with correct critical decision making. Yeah, look, I think this team, Chelsea, will get back to where we want to be, and where we deserve to be, or where we should be, even, or where we're accustomed to being is probably a better way of putting it. But we don't know when, and it's going to require some very, very important decisions to be made, and the correct decisions at that. Correct decisions at that. So let's wait and see what let's wait and see what happens. But yeah, the future can absolutely change, but some big changes are going to have to be made, and the owners are going to need to come forward and make those changes. And I just don't know if they've got that in them. At this point, I'm just looking for the 40 points. Yeah, well, we're not too far away, but yeah, I can't believe we're in March and we still haven't reached 40. What else is coming in, guys? There's so many comments coming in. I can't read them all. Amarin plays a 3-1-6 formation in possession. Yeah, it's a lot of work. Amarim's system, it does put a lot of work on the players. Poch put the pressure on himself as soon as he sold out on his principles after pre-season. Yeah, look, obviously, I think a lot of the plans are dependent on Nkunku. I wonder how different things would have been if Nkunku had been fit all season. I think it's clear that a large part of the plans were based around him, and it's clear that we've not really adapted very well to that situation. And I do wonder sometimes. I think how different was it? How different could it have been? It is interesting. It is interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's an interesting one. Who would have known? Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing is a lack of ready-made players, a lack of experienced pros. Like, this can be fixed, but it's not a quick fix. It's not an easy fix. Again, look, he's doing a good job at Inter, but how well would that translate to Chelsea? It's a different level of pressure, a different level of scrutiny. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not really sure what he would be like. Would he be any good or not? That is the big question. That is the big question, and it's one that I don't know the answer to. I don't know the answer to. I don't have the answers to it. But yeah, I'm not sure, guys. I'm not sure. Yeah, very simple. Yeah, I mean, look, injuries are part and parcel of football, but I do wonder if we'd had a fit Reece James all season as good as Malo Gusto's been. If we had a fit Reece James, if Chilwell had been fit most of the season, if we were able to use Lavia and Kunku on a regular basis, then yeah, maybe things would be different. But the reality of the situation is that we haven't had that. So yeah, that's ultimately the reality right now of the situation. We haven't had that. And there's no point talking of ifs and buts. No point talking about ifs and buts because we're in a situation we're in. But it's it's an interesting one. It is an interesting one. What else is being said here? What else have we got? What are people saying here? Kinker looks like a luxury player for when you're already winning. Maybe, but I think he's going to be a big part of what Chelsea do. He just needs a pre-season now, and start again next season. Essentially, that's kind of where we're at with him. Truth is, Chelsea's biggest rivals in the next 3 years are going to be. No, I don't think so. Look, it's not the Chelsea that we're used to. It's going to be a new Chelsea, a new way of doing things, and we just need to hope that things are gonna turn out all right. That's what we can hope for. Yes, big up, big up. We're back where we started like last season. I'm not a huge Hansi Flick guy. You know, yeah, he done very well at Bayern Munich. German national team was a complete disaster. I don't know. I'm not sure on that front. Is the honest reality of the situation, guys? We're on 85 likes. Let's get this to 90. There's 88 in the building. Big yourselves up. Let's get 5 more likes and smash this over to 90 likes, guys. That would be massively, massively appreciated. You people can definitely do it. You can get there. And we're 2 likes away from 8,000. Sorry, 2 subscribers away from 8,060. Another couple subscribers. There must be 2 people in the 85 that have not subscribed to the channel. So please do subscribe. That would be massively, massively appreciated, guys. So yeah, a couple of you in here, hit the subscribe button, guys. Help me on the road to 9K. But yeah, it's I don't know. It's tough right now. It's really difficult. We've got a long break now. We've got no game until next Monday night. We've only got 2 Premier League games this month. 2. Because there's a March international break as well. So we've got Newcastle next Monday. Then we've got the FA Cup final that weekend. And then we don't play again until the last weekend of March, where we have Burnley at home. So, yeah. We're in 5th place. Are we? What? We're in 5th place. I don't know what team you're referring to. What, Man United or something? I don't know. But yeah, we're certainly not 5th. Yeah, it's difficult times right now, people. It is difficult times. But again, I talked about management yesterday. It's, for me, a lack of tactics is so poor, so poor. You know, both our central midfield players in the last month have played every single minute, including 120 minutes in the cup final. You only have 1 centre forward in the squad. You cannot make 2 subs 20 minutes after your players start flagging. And that is on the manager. That is on the manager. And then as a unit, guys, you can't keep making tactical mistakes when the opposition exerts the slightest bit of pressure. You know, you get within seconds of that second half restarting, people, Brentford had a throw-in, and then we're giving them the type of game they're built for 25 minutes, letting your opponent, we let them dictate the terms. That's on the players. And that's where we are right now. You know, there's blame everywhere, and it lies with everyone. But if the first head has to roll, everyone knows where it's the most convenient for the axe to land. If it starts with the manager, where does it end? I think at this point, you know, we shouldn't worry if Poch is in charge. To be honest, come the summer, I don't think he will be. It should be, the main concern should be how many of this 11 right now, guys, are good enough to start next season. I don't know. If the answer is half or less, then congratulations. You're still bound, you know, that's the reality. But if we continue failing 1v1s in defence and offence, then 3v3s, 4v4s, always going to be suspect. I think long term, I'm optimistic, but it'd be a miracle if we hit a magical turning point before the end of the season. It's just not going to happen. The worst thing for me is that there's going to be good moments and perhaps a lot more shit ones. And that's the reality. That's the reality. You know, not using I don't know. It's not using the academy again when you've got options. There's just a lot wrong. But again, in-game management is poor. As I was saying, way too reactive. Way too reactive. But yeah, what can we do? What can we do, people? Guys, 90 likes. Let's get 10 more to 100. Keep smashing that like button. It's free. Takes seconds. Really helps me out. Oh, I see. Right. Well, that's everything's good then. Everything's all good. We are 5th on XG. Fantastic. Because that gets you European football. Big up to the Chelsea women. At least someone at Chelsea is doing a good job. Yeah, it is a bit unusual, but it's something we need to get used to. And I'll be honest, the Champions League for me this year feels the deadest it's ever been. It feels the deadest it's been in a long, long time. Yeah, not really that bothered about it, to be perfectly honest. It did work for us. It's not going to work anymore. The reason it worked was because we had a squad that was capable of winning straight away. Like, with this squad, hiring and firing doesn't work because the squad's not ready to win. That's the simple reality. It doesn't work for us anymore. It doesn't. And hiring and firing in general in football does not work anymore. That's the simple reality of the situation. I don't think Poch will be in charge come the summer. But how can we trust these directors to do to make the next appointment right? They've already got Potter wrong. They've already got Pochettino wrong. How can we trust them to do something right? We can't. We can't. Simple as that. We can't do that. We simply can't. But is what it is. Is what it is, guys. I don't know what we can do about it. There's honestly nothing left to say. We're awful, and even getting rid of Poch won't solve. No, it won't. It won't solve our problems. It absolutely won't. But this is where we're at right now, people. This is where we are at. No, I appreciate it. Yeah, but will we? There's no guarantees in football. Absolutely no guarantees in football that we will be. That's the reality. We could, but right now it looks anything but like that. It looks anything but like that. I don't know. I really don't know. I think if we win the FA Cup, I think he stays. If we qualify for Europe, I think he potentially stays. But again, it depends if he wants to stay as well. And yeah, other than that, if we get no European football and we win nothing, then he shouldn't be here next season. Simple as that, in my view. Poch in-game management is not good. No, it's not good. It isn't good at all. It's been poor all season. No, I don't think he goes. I don't think he goes before Leicester. I'll be honest. I really don't think he does. But yeah, let's wait and see. You just never know with this football club. Expect the unexpected. Games to worry about: Newcastle, Arsenal away is definitely an L. Spurs, United. Yeah, potentially it's going to be difficult. Yes, big up. Despite them telling us this team will be ready to, I can 100% see the ownership selling the likes of Gusto and Palmer soon. I don't know. I would have thought so. Gusto and Palmer are two of the best signings we've made. There's no denying that. No, it doesn't always go right. But, we're not seeing any signs of improvement. And look, I want this manager to do well. I want there to be improvement. But, yeah, let's wait and see. Let's wait and see. But, yeah, guys, I think I'm going to round this one out here. Big up to everyone that's tuned in this afternoon. Really appreciate all of your support. Yeah, a shame that it's had to be so doom and gloom, but that's kind of the situation around Chelsea at this point in time. Guys, I will be back tomorrow with either a video or a live, depending on how much news there has been. So make sure you stay tuned for that. On the way out, guys, smash the likes. Let's get this to 100 likes. We are on 92 right now. Let's get another 8 likes on this on the way out. Smash the likes. Subscribe if you're new around here as well. Please help me on the road to 9,000 subscribers. And yeah, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thank you for tuning in. Big up to everyone. Love for the support as always. Catch you again tomorrow. Up the Chelsea and peace out, people.